Everyone, PL Stewart here. Another one of these spontaneous, um, just live book reviews that I plan to be doing. I'd mentioned that in previous reviews that I was going to be doing these, and I'm trying to keep my promise. Just something fun, I think, and a new way of doing it. Not necessarily new. I'm sure someone's done before, but this is what I'm doing. So today I'm going to be providing a review, kind of condensed series review of the Five Warrior Angels series by Brian Lee Durfee. Now, Brian Lee Durfee, if you're not aware who he is a phenomenal booktuber. Check out his channel. I love his stuff. He's got a great sense of humor, and he's also appeared on Page Chewing with Taylor and I. And I have to say, he is a warm, wonderful, marvelous, very intelligent human being, and someone who I had a great affinity for. Like right away, we really connected. We're in the same line of work, and of course, we got off on a lot of tangents about work stuff, chatting. But just someone you just had that rapport with, and he's just an amazing guy. And his booktube channel really displays his sense of humor. He's hilarious. Check that out in the links below. I have listed his YouTube channel in the links, and I have to say, he is a phenomenal author. And his series, The Five War Angels, in my opinion, is severely underrated. It is a fantastic, for me, a dark fantasy series. I would classify it as that borderline grimdark, but it is outstanding. And in my view, criminally underrated. This series should be mentioned, spoken about a lot more. I'm gonna do some holding up here. So this is book one, The Forgetting Moon, and I mean the covers are just outstanding, right? They really display the vibe. I think he describes it, Brian Lee Durfee, as basically that fantasy vibe on metal, right? On metal music. So yeah, that's book one, The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart. Book two, and again, I think I got some glare there, so apologies, but these covers are just gorgeous. And The Lonesome Crown. I mean, amazing, absolutely amazing covers. So and the books are amazing. The writing is stellar. So just to kind of give you a bit about the series, and I have to say again, I don't understand why this book and this series is not more hyped. This is an impeccably character-driven grimdark series, and it the one thing about this series that really hooks me, anyone who knows me, is how it addresses religion in this series. So to give you the overview of the series, this world, it's called the Five Isles. It erupts in this holy war. There's all these contradictory prophecies centered around the worship of this Messiah-like or Christ-like figure called Rachel, and these prophecies seem poised to either come true or not. Right now, the difference with this book in terms of, you think about how some religious prophecies manifest. You have someone who is seemingly a direct descendant, living descendant of this Christ-like radio figure, who's leading essentially a holy war because he believes in a certain prophecy. That means essentially he's going to rule the world. So he thinks he's a chosen one because he's the heir to this radio's legacy. And to accomplish this living current day Messiah called Eros, he's dubbed as the Angel Prince. He plans to essentially bring everyone under his heel, unite under the true religion, with him, of course, as the focal point. Surprise, surprise. This Eros, this dude's ruthless. He will stop at nothing to accomplish his goals. So essentially, he embarks on this holy war, this crusade, and he's going to rampage through the Five Isles, which is the world, with his seemingly unstoppable armies, and he's going to leave an utter wake of destruction and pain behind him. So that's pretty great backdrop to the series. So the book becomes about the characters that are caught in the middle of this holy war that Eros is playing. You have Eros's personal bodyguard, Galt. Um, he's a knight. He's a seasoned fighter. He's world weary. He's tries to be dutiful to Eros, but he's really tired of the bloodshed, right? And you see his devotion to Eros begin to crumble, and that's fascinating to watch. And Galt's someone who could help sway the tide of battle either way. So if he betrays Eros, it could be big. If he stays loyal, it could be big. So um, there's now a lot of the other characters are focused around the resistance against Eros. You have kings, you have kings, princes, princesses, all these noble folk trying to resist, leading their kingdoms in the resistance against Eros in this holy war. Now, there's some very powerful warriors and people who have the ability to oppose Eros. The issue is, will they be able to unite and do that? So amongst the characters, I'm not going to go too in depth because this is going to be spoiler free. You have King Jovan of Golcana, and this guy he's pretty well as brutish and merciless as Eros. He can be very mercurial, and he has some issues. He's kind of living in the shadow of his father, who he inherited the throne from, and there's a lot of people who I don't believe he's fit to rule, including his own family, and we'll get to them later. So he's a very controversial figure, and he also may or may not be going mad. So you can imagine that if this fella's at almost the head of the wedge for resistance, the resistance may be in trouble. So now when we talk about, I mentioned his family. So Jovan of Golcana's family, that some of his family don't have confidence in him and don't necessarily think he's fit to rule. Amongst those are two very brave, beautiful, fantastically drawn, complex characters are actually his sisters. So the sisters to Jovan, Jondrelin and Tala, and they're both resourceful. They get caught up in all the court intrigue, sorry, but this family loyalty is also pulling at them. Jondrelin wants to be a warrior, and Tala essentially wants to protect the family, especially those that are weak and vulnerable. And they are very much conflicted about what to do in terms of, yes, we have to address this threat from Eros, but how do we deal with their own brother and what his problems are? So there's also, and here's a beautiful trope that is well done. There's a common boy named Nail, and he's seen as an outsider amongst the people he lives with in this isolated little fishing village in one of the countries that's bound to resist Eros, and he's raised by this very dour, mysterious mentor, and but Nail dreams of having a bigger life and want to adventure glory, and he just has no idea how adventurous or how dangerous his life's can become. So you have multiple POVs, including the ones I mentioned. So Nail, Galt. So Nail, the boy who seems to have more going on and more to his destiny than meets the eye. You have Galt, the knight who may or may not be loyal to the prince that's in charge of the holy war. You have Jondrelin and Tala. So these are some of the main POVs there's many more throughout the book, but those are some of the main ones. And what I love about these characters, and I'm a character-driven reader, those of you who run my reviews, they're all flawed, morally ambiguous, except for a very scant number of the more innocent, straightforward ones that are more noble-hearted. And everything's complicated, everything's messy with these characters. There's a lot of, frankly, unjust, sadistic, perverse, and twisted characters. And they have some faint hope of humanity, but just barely. And even the noble ones, the more noble ones, that like you see a lot of pettiness and self-absorption. You, some of these characters will likely grate on your nerves, but boy, do they make for some fascinating characters. And you may be frustrated with some of the decisions they make because some of them are, you'll say, are just dumb. Um, but they make them, and they really change what happens with the series. Their decisions. There's a lot of these characters you're gonna love to hate them, or you'll laugh at them, and or just squirm at their mistakes and palm your face. You'll also mourn over their misfortune, and not all that's of their own making. But these characters are fantastic. They're highly fleshed out. They're realistic. They're compelling. You will see plenty of like valor and altruism and compassion and camaraderie, but then you'll see that ruthless ambition and the narcissism, and there's some downright cruelty in this book and that these characters display. Um, and Brian Lee Durfee really puts a lot of time into building these characters, and you have a really fulsome idea of their personalities, their motivations, their secrecies, their feelings, and their strengths and weaknesses very clearly. Um, so this book is fantastic as a character-driven book, and with religion as this focal point of a theme, like basically about one's religion and the justification of bigotry and hatred against other versions of these prophecies I talked about, and the religions, the sub faiths and that spring from these prophecies. So these almost denominations that spring from the prophecies, and they all engender persecution, slaughter, torture, genocide of the other, sub denominations. That's big, right? It just shows how religious zealotry can really inflame people against each other because of these belief schisms. And then, so holy war led by the people at the top of the hierarchy who are driving the religious fervor, and the ordinary people get caught in the middle, right? And they tend to bear the cost. And there's lots of collateral damage. And but yeah, this is a really grimdark book and series. There's lots of duels and assassination attempts and fiercely bloody battles, torture scenes. One of them particularly, this just really stands out. It was absolutely wow. There's some squeamish moments, so just beware. But I think a lot of grimdark fans will love this. There is nihilism, so it's grimdark. So so much about with the dubiousness of prophecies, and there's so many seemingly few like morally upright characters. You have to wonder if this series will have a happy ending. Uh, I'm not going to comment on the ending. I thought it was an amazing ending, but you have to read this series to see. Brian Lee Durfee certainly doesn't pull any punches when it comes to showing you the harsh side of war and having his characters pay the price for other people's actions and their own actions. Um, in any event, the world building is intricate. It's clearly medieval European and Christianity. I talked about religion; it's inspired by Christianity. There's tons of mythology and lore and history and backstory and royal lineages and magical creatures, and it's got terrifying. It's got mermaids, and the mermaids are terrifying. It's got elves and dwarves and giant whales and saber-toothed cats. It's really good in terms of the world building, and I think I can't leave out the whole the 5 magical weapons, these talismans, that the center of the series, which I think was really well done in terms of the world building. The prose is fantastic. I love me some good prose, and it was great. I love the way Brian Lee Durfee uses epigraphs in the beginning chapters. It showcases like these passages. He puts things in the reader's mind that'll stick there, and they're going to be meaningful. They're going to mean something. Now these books are chonkers. Okay, they're pretty big. Most of them are at least 800 pages. They're beautiful. They're big. So um, you have to be mindful that when you get these books, you know Brian Lee Durfee doesn't skip on the details. Um, and there's a lot of political intrigue. There's romance. There's the action scenes, which are amazing. But just remember, this is a big book, so it's a tome. I think it reads fairly well. Yes, it isn't a super fast read, but the parts that are fast really read fast, and it's outstanding. So if you like Tad Williams, George R. R. Martin, I can definitely see the imprint of these writers in Brian Lee Durfee's work, and I definitely feel their inspirations, and how popular those writers are. I think if you like the Tad Williams and George R. R. Martin's, this is going to be for you. Very intriguing series. I think more people definitely, again, as I said, need to read this. It is phenomenal. I really liked it. It's definitely going to go down as in my top 50 fantasy series by traditionally published authors. This is really, really good. And again, more people need to read it. So that's my review. It's a quick, spontaneous review of the Five War Angels series by Brian Lee Durfee. Check out Brian's channel. Check out his books. Again, he's just an amazing guy. And yeah, I hope I've conveyed how much I love this series and why you should read it. All right. Thanks very much. Take care. And I'll probably be putting on another video today, another book review. But for now, this is my book review of the Five War Angels series, somewhat of an overview review. So, all right. Thanks so much, guys. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.